Ladies and gentlemen, friends, brothers, and sisters, let's talk about something that shapes our lives more than we often realize. Something that builds dreams, but also breaks them. Something that can either set us free or chain us down. That something is money. Now, let me be clear. Money itself is not evil. Money itself is not holy. Money is not an angel, and money is not a demon. Money is simply power. And like all power, it depends on the hands that hold it. You see, money doesn't change you. Money amplifies you. And that, my friends, is the first principle of money. Principle 1. Money amplifies who you are. Imagine a microphone. When you speak into it, it doesn't change your voice. It simply makes it louder. If your voice is kind, it spreads kindness louder. If your voice is cruel, it spreads cruelty louder. Money is that microphone. If you are generous, money gives you the power to feed the hungry, build schools, and lift others. If you are selfish, money gives you the power to manipulate, exploit, and destroy. Money makes a good person better, and it makes a bad person worse. That's why I tell you, don't just chase money. Chase character, chase wisdom, chase discipline. Because when money comes, and it will, what it amplifies will depend on who you already are. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who grew up in a poor family. He promised himself, "One day I will be rich. One day I will never struggle again." He worked hard, earned money, and finally became wealthy. But instead of peace, his life was filled with chaos. Why? Because even before the money, he was greedy, insecure, and bitter. When wealth arrived, it didn't fix him. It only magnified what was already inside. On the other hand, I've met mothers who had very little, yet they shared the little food they had with neighbors. And when they finally earned more, when their financial situation improved, their generosity multiplied. They built businesses that gave jobs. They funded education for kids who weren't even their own. Money amplified both people. One spread pain, the other spread kindness. So I ask you today, if tomorrow $1 million landed in your bank account, who would you become? Think about it. Would you lift others up, or would you only serve yourself? That's the first principle of money. Money doesn't change you. Money amplifies you. So work on your character, because money will only make it louder. Principle 2. Your income depends on your skills, not your degree. My friends, I want to tell you something that may sound uncomfortable, but it is the truth. Your degree is just a piece of paper. Your skills are what pay the bills. Now, don't get me wrong. Education is powerful. Going to school, getting a degree, it shows discipline, it shows commitment. But in the real world, The money you earn does not care what's printed on your certificate. It cares what you can do. If you can solve problems, you will be paid. If you can bring value, you will be rewarded. If you can create, lead, sell, build, inspire, your income will reflect it. But if all you have is a degree and no skill to back it up, then my friend, you are like a soldier with no weapon. Let me share a story. A young graduate once came to me, frustrated. He said, "Sir, I studied for years. I worked so hard for my degree, but I can't find a good paying job." I looked at him and asked, "What can you do?" He was confused. He repeated, "I have a degree in business administration." I smiled gently and said again, "I'm not asking what you studied. I'm asking what you can do. Can you sell? Can you manage? Can you lead? Can you create content? Can you analyze markets? Can you solve real problems in real businesses?" He stayed quiet, and then he understood. A degree may open a door, but it is your skill that decides whether you stay in the room. Think of the wealthiest people today. Some didn't finish college. Some dropped out. But what they had were skills. Skills in technology, in communication, in leadership, in seeing opportunities where others saw problems. Steve Jobs didn't finish college, but he had the skill of design, innovation, and vision. Oprah Winfrey didn't come from wealth, but she had the skill of communication and connection. Elon Musk mastered engineering, problem solving, and risk taking. The world doesn't pay you for the hours you spend in a classroom. It pays you for the results you can deliver. So ask yourself today, what skills do you have that make you valuable? And if the answer is not enough, then don't be ashamed. Instead, be excited, because skills can be learned. Skills can be developed. Learn how to sell. Learn how to write. Learn how to speak. Learn how to code. Learn how to manage people. Learn how to lead. Every new skill you add is like adding a new engine to your income. The truth is this: your degree might give you one chance, but your skills will give you endless chances. And remember this: money doesn't flow to degrees. Money flows to value, and value comes from skill. So principle number 2 is simple but powerful. Your income depends on your skills, not your degree. Now, with that in your mind, let's step in to the third principle. Principle 3. No one will teach you about money. You have to learn it yourself. Friends, I want you to pause for a moment and think about your years in school. You learned math, history, geography, science. You learned how to solve equations, memorize capitals, and write essays. But let me ask you this: did anyone ever sit you down and teach you how money really works? Did your teacher explain how to build wealth, how to invest, how to control expenses, how to make money grow? No. And why? Because the system was never designed to make you financially free. The system was designed to make you a good worker, someone who earns just enough, spends just enough, and keeps the machine running. That is why I tell you, no one will teach you about money. You have to learn it yourself. I remember a young man who got his first job. His salary was higher than what his father had ever earned. He was proud, excited, ready to live a new life. But within a year, he was drowning in credit card debt. He had a new phone, new clothes, new gadgets, but no savings, no investments, nothing that built his future. Do you know why? Because he was never taught about money. He thought income equals wealth. He thought having money meant spending money. And sadly, this is not just his story, it's the story of millions. We are taught to work for money, but never taught how money can work for us. We are taught how to calculate compound interest on paper, but not how to apply it in our bank accounts. We are taught how to memorize history dates, but not how to plan for our financial future. That's why financial education is your responsibility. Not your schools, not your governments, not your employers. Yours. So, how do you learn about money? You read books. You listen to podcasts. You study investors. You practice budgeting. You make mistakes and learn from them. And most importantly, you stay humble enough to admit you don't know everything. I'll tell you something powerful. The rich don't know everything about money. They just never stop learning. They treat money like a subject, like a skill, like a craft. They study it the way a doctor studies medicine. And here's the truth. If you don't study money, you will always be a slave to it. But if you master it, money will serve you. So don't wait for a teacher. Don't wait for a course. Don't wait for permission. Teach yourself. Invest in your knowledge. Educate your mind. Because financial freedom doesn't come from luck. It comes from learning. And that, my friends, is the third principle of money. No one will teach you about money. You have to learn it yourself. Now that we know money won't be taught to us, let's move to the fourth principle, one of the most misunderstood truths about building wealth. Principle 4. Saving alone won't make you rich. You must invest. For generations, people have been told, save your money, save for a rainy day, put it in the bank, and you'll be secure. And yes, saving is important. Saving gives you discipline. Saving gives you security. Saving gives you peace of mind. But here is the truth, my friends. Saving alone will not make you rich. Why? Because money sitting still is money losing value. Every year, inflation quietly steals from your pocket. The cost of food rises, rent rises, education rises, healthcare rises. But your saved money? It does not rise fast enough. If all you do is save, you are not building wealth. You are just delaying poverty. The rich know this. That is why they don't just save, they invest. Let me share a story. There were two friends. Both earned the same salary. Both were disciplined. The first friend saved diligently, putting money in a simple savings account. He felt proud seeing his balance grow slowly. The second friend saved too, but instead of keeping all his money in the bank, he learned about investing. He studied real estate. He studied stocks. He studied businesses, and little by little, he put his money to work. Fast forward 20 years. The first friend had a comfortable savings account, yes, but inflation had eaten much of its value. He could survive, but not thrive. The second friend? His investments had multiplied. His money had worked while he slept. His wealth gave him freedom. Freedom to travel, to give, to choose how to live. What was the difference? Not discipline. Both were disciplined. The difference was knowledge and action. One saved, the other invested. Listen carefully. When you work for money, you are limited. You have only 24 hours a day, only one body, only one brain. But when your money works for you, there is no limit. Your dollars don't sleep. Your investments don't get tired. Your assets don't take holidays. Imagine having 100 employees who never rest, never complain, never take a break, and all of them work for you. That's what investing does. Every dollar becomes a worker. Now, some of you may be thinking, but investing is risky. Yes, it is. But so is driving a car. So is starting a business. So is life itself. The question is not whether risk exists. The question is whether you are willing to learn enough to manage it. Because here's the truth. The biggest risk is not investing. It's never investing. If you never invest, you are guaranteeing that your money will shrink in value. But if you invest wisely, you give your money the chance to grow beyond your lifetime. So, principle number 4 is this. Don't let your money sleep. Don't let it sit idle. Yes, save. Yes, be disciplined. But then take the next step. Invest. Let your money work for you. Because saving alone won't make you rich. But investing, that is where wealth is born. Now, let's go even deeper, because even when people do earn, even when they invest, many lose everything. Why? Because of the 5th principle of money. Principle 5. The rich stay rich by controlling expenses, not by overspending. Let me tell you a secret that many people don't want to believe. It's not how much you earn that makes you rich. It's how much you keep. I've seen doctors earning huge salaries, but living paycheck to paycheck. I've seen celebrities earning millions, only to go bankrupt within years. And I've also seen quiet business owners, school teachers, and ordinary workers retire comfortably. Not because they earned more, but because they controlled their expenses. The truth is simple. The rich stay rich, not because of what they earn, but because of what they keep. A few years ago, a famous athlete made headlines. At his peak, he earned more in a single year than most people would in 10 lifetimes. But after retirement, he went broke. How? Overspending. Mansions, cars, parties, jewelry. He lived like the money would never end. But money doesn't care about fame. If you spend faster than you earn, even billions can disappear. Now compare him to another man, Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, worth over $100 billion. Yet do you know where he still lives? In the same modest house he bought in 1958. He could buy a palace every week if he wanted to, but he doesn't. Why? Because he understands Principle 5. Wealth is not about showing off. Wealth is about stability, security, and freedom. Too many people chase the illusion of wealth. They want to look rich, not be rich. They buy the newest car, the latest phone, the designer clothes, yet they have no savings, no investments, no assets. My friends, let me tell you something from the heart. Looking rich and being rich are two very different things. Looking rich is easy. Anyone can swipe a credit card, borrow money, or fake a lifestyle. Being rich requires discipline, patience, and control. The rich stay rich because they know how to say no. No to unnecessary purchases. No to wasting money just to impress others. No to letting ego control their wallet. Ask yourself this: if tomorrow you doubled your income, would you actually be richer, or would you just double your spending? Because here's the truth: if you don't control your expenses when you earn a little, you won't control them when you earn a lot. A poor man who spends recklessly will become a poor rich man, just with bigger bills. So, principle number 5 is not glamorous. It's not flashy, but it is the key to lasting wealth. The rich stay rich by controlling expenses, not by overspending. Discipline builds wealth. Ego destroys it. Now that we've learned the importance of controlling expenses, let's go to the 6th principle, a painful truth that explains why some people struggle financially their entire lives, no matter how much money they make. Principle 6. If you don't manage money well, you'll always struggle, no matter how much you earn. My friends, I need to tell you something that may sound harsh, but it is the truth. Money problems don't disappear when you earn more. They only disappear when you learn to manage money. If you can't handle $1,000, you can't handle $10,000. If you can't handle $10,000, you can't handle $100,000. And if you can't handle $100,000, you will lose $1 million just as fast. The problem is not the size of your income. The problem is the size of your discipline. Let me share with you the story of a man I once knew. He worked a regular job, earning just enough to get by. Every month, he would say, "If only I had a little more money, life would be easier." One day, his company promoted him. His income doubled overnight. For the first few months, he felt free. He bought new clothes, moved to a bigger apartment, started eating at restaurants every week. But guess what? Within a year, he was back to the same problem, broke before the month ended. Why? Because his spending grew as fast as his income. He never learned to manage money. This is what happens to so many people who win the lottery. Millions of dollars fall into their hands, but within a few years, most of them are bankrupt. Not because they didn't have enough money, but because they didn't have the skill to manage it. Think about it like this. Money is like water. If your container is broken, no matter how much water you pour in, it will leak out. If your financial habits are broken, no matter how much money you earn, it will vanish. That is why some people with modest salaries live peacefully with savings, investments, and security, while others with high salaries are drowning in debt. It's not about how much comes in. It's about how much you can keep, grow, and control. So what does managing money mean? It means budgeting. It means tracking your expenses. It means planning before spending. It means setting aside money for savings, investments, and emergencies. It means respecting money, not wasting it. Money is a tool. If you don't learn how to use it, it will control you instead of serving you. So here is the sixth principle of money. If you don't manage money well, you'll always struggle no matter how much you earn. Don't wait for a higher salary to start managing money. Start now with whatever you have, because if you can master money at a small level, you'll master it at a big level. Wealth is not an accident. Wealth is management. Now, my friends, we arrive at the final principle, a principle that goes beyond numbers, beyond budgets, beyond investments. This one is about the very life you are building with every financial decision you make. Principle 7. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you want. Friends, I want you to think of this truth. Every time you spend money, you are casting a vote. A vote for your future. A vote for your habits. A vote for the kind of life you want to build. If you spend recklessly, you are voting for stress, for debt, for a future of struggle. If you spend wisely, you are voting for freedom, for security, for a life of choice. Every dollar is not just money, it's a decision. Let me give you an example. There were two women, both earning the same salary. One spent her money on new clothes every week, endless nights out, expensive gadgets she didn't need. She said, "I deserve this. I work hard." And yes, she enjoyed for the moment, but at the end of the month, she had nothing left. The other woman also enjoyed life, but she was intentional. She spent on books, on courses, on investments. She saved a portion, invested another, and still allowed herself small pleasures. 5 years later, one woman was stuck in the same job, struggling with debt. The other had grown her wealth, gained new skills, and created opportunities for herself. Both had the same income. The difference? How they voted with their money. You see, money is not just about numbers, it's about alignment. When you buy fast food every day instead of cooking, you are voting for short-term comfort over long-term health. When you buy unnecessary gadgets instead of investing, you are voting for short-term pleasure over long-term wealth. When you invest in learning, in building, in creating, you are voting for growth. Every dollar is like a ballot, and your life is the government that gets elected. So ask yourself today, are your financial votes building the life you truly want? Because here's the beauty, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to always vote right. But if the majority of your financial votes go toward freedom, growth, and purpose, your life will follow. So next time you pull out your wallet, ask yourself, is this vote supporting the life I dream of? That awareness alone can change your financial destiny. So here is the seventh and final principle. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you want. Choose wisely.
My friends, we have walked through 7 principles of money. 1. Money amplifies who you are. 2. Your income depends on your skills, not your degree. 3. No one will teach you about money. You must learn it yourself. 4. Saving alone won't make you rich. You must invest. 5. The rich stay rich by controlling expenses, not by overspending. 6. If you don't manage money well, you'll always struggle, no matter how much you earn. And 7. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you want. Remember, money is not the goal. Money is the tool. The goal is freedom. The goal is peace. The goal is a life where you choose, not one where money chooses for you. So take these principles not just into your mind, but into your daily life. Build skills. Learn about money. Invest wisely. Control your expenses. Manage your finances. And above all, spend with intention. Because wealth is not about luck. Wealth is built on principles. And when you live by these principles, money will stop being your master and become your servant. The choice, my friends, is yours. What kind of life will you vote for?